Hello everyone and welcome back to another coin roll hunting video. In today's video we're going to be searching through these 10 penny rolls together, so let's jump into it. Alright everyone, so what I normally do for these is I usually just go through 5 rolls at a time and I open just 5 rolls on camera, but I figure since we're only going through 10 rolls today, I'll just open them all on camera while we talk about what we look for. So for pennies, doing this, what we're doing right now is called an edge hunt. And for pennies, it's a lot less important than other denominations because we're not looking for things like silver, but you can still sometimes see things based off the edge. That roll looked pretty normal to me. The copper and zinc edges often have a lot of different colors, so that's not usually a sign of different things. But some of the things that we look for, I feel like the biggest thing that we look for pennies is our wheat cents. So pennies between 1909, I think, and yeah, 1909 and 1958 are all wheat cents, so we look for those. We also look for anything that's older than that, so like our Indian head cents or things like that. Those would be amazing to find. We also look for our steel cents, which are also wheat cents, but they're made out of steel because in 1943, during World War II, they needed the copper for the war, and so it was cheaper to make it out of steel. I'm struggling to get this roll open here. There we go, got it open. But yeah, so steel cents, I have never found one in a coin roll yet, but that would be super cool to find. I do also set aside all of my copper. I've had a couple comments recently in my daily coin roll hunts about, I don't usually show what copper I set aside, but I've had people say like, oh no, you toss back the copper, but I do keep all the copper. So I'll try to show it off in this video if I remember. I'll show off all the copper that we ended up with. Because copper, if you didn't know, the copper melt value of a penny for the copper cents are higher than the cost of a penny, so higher than a cent, usually around 3 cents. I'm not exactly sure what copper melt is today. We also look for a variety of errors. I've got a checklist of errors that I look for our pennies. And so far out of these, I haven't noticed anything off the edges. That doesn't mean there's not anything there, though. We also look for foreign coins, so that is something that you can sometimes tell based off the edge. So like if we had a Canadian cent in here or something like that, then you might be able to tell because sometimes they have a different shaped edge, so not a fully round edge. This one's giving me a little trouble too. There we go. Not the most clean opening, but that's okay. But yeah, and then let's see, what else do we look for? We also look for our West Point penny, which is in 2019. Very unlikely that we'll find that, but you never know. And then also, I've been setting aside all the 2025 pennies that we find as well, because they seem to be lower mintage and at least in the past have had some premium, and I also just find very little of them. So I've just been setting aside them whenever I find them. And then the last thing that I have on my list that we normally look for is our proof coins. So for pennies, I don't remember if I found a proof penny or not. But it would be cool to find. I love finding proof coins and things like that just because they're super random and they're not supposed to be there. So yeah, and then last year was the last year of the mintage of the regular circulating pennies. So we won't be having any like 2026 pennies or anything like that because they're only going to be released in like mint or proof sets. And it's also early on in 2026, so we probably won't find any of those anyways. But let's get this last roll open here if I can. And then I'll go off camera and start searching for things, and I'll bring you back in when I find stuff. But let's see if we notice anything in this last roll here. I'm not seeing anything there, so like I said, I'll just go off camera, search through these, and see if I can find anything, and I'll bring you back in with our finds. Alright everyone, I'm just going through roll number 5 here, and you can see I have a find here. There's a wheat cent here, so I thought I would pull it out on camera with you guys, so we can take a look at what it is together. So first we have that beautiful wheat cent reverse there, but let's flip it over and see the date. We have a 1957 Denver. Okay, so I'll have to check it with my books to see if it's a book filler or not. But Probably not because it's a 50s penny, so it's a more common year, but that's still pretty cool. I always love finding our wheat cent, so I thought I'd bring you in for our first find. Alright everyone, so I wanted to bring you in for a little wrap up and show you what we ended up finding. So we found 2 book fillers today that I didn't bring you in for. So we found first this 2020, which is going to be finishing off our Lincoln Cent book starting in 2014. And then we found this 1971 as well, which will be going in this Lincoln Memorial Cents book from 1959 to 1998. So I wanted to show you here just this this first page is the whole book, actually, because it ends in 2025, because that's the last year of the penny there. But you can see we got our 2020 spot, so that would be popping in right there. So I'll get that popped in later. But I thought I'd show you that. So those are our book fillers. And next we have our bigger finds. So first we have that wheat cent that I brought you in for, this 1957 Denver. It ended up not being a book filler in any of my books, and it ended up being the only wheat cent we found today. But out of 10 rolls to get one, that's pretty good. Oftentimes I'll even go through a whole box and sometimes I won't find one. So this is always nice to find a wheat cent. And then I wanted to show you our 2025s as well. I actually found a lot. I think before this I had only found 6 or 7 total, but in this box alone we found 9 2025s, so 5 Phillies and 4 Denvers, so I just thought that was interesting. And then the last thing I wanted to talk to you guys about as well was our copper, what we found. So out of each roll has 50 pennies in it, so that would be 500 pennies total. So out of the 500 pennies, 109 of them were copper. So I'll put up a CoinApps comp for the copper value for that, but the face value would be $1.09. So anything on top of that is just profit out of the copper melt value. So I thought that was pretty cool, and I thought I'd share since I don't usually. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. We didn't find a whole lot today, but it was still a fun hunt for me. If you like this video, please consider liking and subscribing. I try to make videos like this, doing some coin hunts as well as talking about different history of different coins in my collection. If you have any comments on this video, please feel free to leave them down in the comments section. I'll try to answer all the comments that I can, and I'll see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching.